that when she was a minor at the age of 17, he entered the home when she was home alone. He said to her, "I'm Scott Jordan. I own this home."
I first met the defendant in the fall of 2017. I have a lake rental home on a nearby lake that I was re-renting, and I had a rental sign in the yard that the defendant saw, and she contacted me and was very excited about being able to rent my lake home. So I gave her the application that we use for renters, and she shortly got back to me with an email, which I have as Exhibit B. This email explains that their family had come upon hard times and why their credit report would not be in their favor. I built this house 17 years ago, and I've only had 2 other renters in the house since I built it. Both were good renters that stayed for at least 7 years apiece and took good care of the house. And that's all I needed was an annual inspection. I drive by because my farm where I live isn't far from there, so I do drive by the outside along the road to keep an eye on it a little bit. As far as any interior inspections, it was only done twice with this family, and both times they were called. I never walk into any house, whether I own it or not, without knocking first. We can go through some evidence, Your Honor, and see what the house and property looked like before they rented and after they rented.
Your Honor.
I mean, these people had fires out on my lake deck. They had bonfires on my lake deck, burning holes right through the deck, in through the joists.
No, we were burning the trees
carpet,
that we cut
the
down.
carpet is totally destroyed. The carpet was they were the first people ever to be on that carpet. I have the receipt for $5,400 installing brand new carpet right before they moved in. That carpet is totally destroyed. They brought a dog in the house, which in the lease is not allowable.
You agreed to allow the dog.
The dog ruined the carpet. They
Sorry.
have food stains, et cetera, ruining the carpet. Windows with mold on them, tile with mold on them. She did not do window cleaning or interior cleaning.
I did.
The place was a disaster when I had to give them notice to leave, Your Honor. If you look at Exhibit J, it'll show you some interior pictures of the home, how it looked before they moved in. If you go further through that exhibit, the next picture has a whole pile of garbage and junk that they left behind at the home.
All right.
And if you continue going through those photographs, Your Honor, you'll see broken blinds, stains all over the brand new carpet, et cetera, et cetera. So my basis of my lawsuit is mostly for extensive damage to the house, but you've also got unpaid rent.
He is a greedy man, and he required us to pay 6 weeks of rent before we even moved into the home in November of 2017 because the house was in such high demand. We did not keep anything standing out. We kept the decks clean of stuff. I've driven by recently because I still live in the area. His current renters have so much stuff on the deck. I wonder if he's bothering them on a weekly basis. We were very good tenants. I washed the windows seasonally, including wiping out the sills. I shampooed the carpets. The property that he claims was in such great condition really wasn't, and we can get into that when you're ready to hear my full side of things. But I will just say he was not respectful to my husband and I because I had shared with him our hardships, and he's using that against me. And he used that against us from day one.
What about your countersued?
I am countersuing because when we moved into the home, it was not in great shape. There were tiles loose in the kitchen. The jetted tub in the master bathroom had so much gunk in the jets. It was disgusting. The deck was in terrible condition, which he claimed he would have repaired that spring and did not have the deck repaired. He had it stained, not repaired. There were boards that were caving in as you walked across them. There was a water feature in the backyard off of this deck that hadn't been cleaned out in probably 3 or 4 years that I spent 3 weekends cleaning out to get it up and running. The big one that really gets me, Your Honor, is that my daughter, when I told her that we were moving out in December, when he gave us the notice, which was a text message, not an eviction notice, she shared with me that when she was a minor at the age of 17, He entered the home without giving us any notice when she was home alone, walked into the home and she asked him, because she had never met him, "Who are you?" And he said to her, "I'm Scott Jordan. I own this home." She was terrified. She had never met him. She didn't know why he was there. He walked through the house asking her about spots on the carpet, which I found out later were actually shadows that were coming off of the windows. He also, what I found out from my son, who was 20 and working evenings at the time, that Scott would come and walk the property quite often and even look into the windows. He is not allowed to enter the property without giving us appropriate notice. That's what really bothered me the most. When we decided to leave that home, I was done. I did not want to have anything to do with this man ever again. In fact, I didn't want to have to see him today, but here I am. This was a terrible emotional distress on my family to have to pack up in the middle of the winter after what we believed we were good tenants. I have friends and family that can't believe, after seeing the house when we moved out, that he is suing us for this. I apologize for getting a little emotional, but
No, that's okay.
word on the street, in the neighborhood, in the community, is that he's not a good person.
Scott, what about this looking in windows, entering, under the law, you do have to give a 24-hour notice.
Absolutely no truth to me walking the property and looking in any windows. The defendant was called for me to go do an inspection, and I told her that I would be coming to the house to do an inspection on the interior of the home. She told me that only her daughter would be home and that she wouldn't be there, and I knocked on the door that her daughter answered. I never walked in the house on anybody.
Here's what I see. In terms of Scott's suit, the first item mentioned in your suit, unpaid rent and late fees. You clearly owe for the rent and utilities. The damages are more than $500, but the rest is normal wear and tear. So judgment in favor of the plaintiff for $2,908. The countersuit is dismissed.